Hi, this is my first attempt at a sort of a tech news sort of segment for my live stream. I'm not exactly sure what to call it yet. I would like to discuss with chat what we should name it that would be special and unique to this. But then I would like to cut it down into YouTube videos. Just short, sweet, simple little tech news of the week. Things that I find fun, new, or interesting. Basically, just want to have any discussions with the community about the tech news if they have any thoughts, questions, or concerns. I look forward to expanding upon this idea and seeing where it goes. And thank you for watching. I hope you find this interesting. Let's just jump into the first topic, which I am personally most interested in: the 9800X 3D. So recently, AMD launched the very anticipated 9800X 3D. It kind of more than exceeded expectations. Every single benchmark that I have seen gaming, because it is very one-trick pony specific, it is a gaming chip. But every benchmark that I've seen is baffling. Even some of the smallest margins, it's still a bigger uplift than some of the other chips are doing with all-around tasks. I think the consensus that everyone was getting is it's on average 20% uplift. That is average because some are more, some are marginal to even no uplift just due to engine caps or a game might be more graphically bound. But anyway, it's doing absolutely amazing. And even as far as production, it's uplifted in hertz speed. So like it can push more and do more even at a production level. And that interests me because I'm an editor and a gamer running on a 5800X 3D. Going from AM4 to AM5 is already a jump. This would be a huge jump. But then comes the bad news. You can't buy the damn thing. It sold out within minutes everywhere and instantly started to get scalped for $1,000. That's just wild to me because like scalpers are so quick to do that when I'll be honest, AMD is they're cooking. They literally push this out quick to just stomp on Intel a little bit, and they're doing it spectacularly because what's better than saying you're completely out of stock? I heard there's a retailer in Germany that they have not sold a single chip from Intel, the 200 series Arrow Lake. We're going to get to that. And this is selling out everywhere to where you can't buy it. And people are even tempted to buy a scalp. Why? Why pay double? Just wait a little bit longer. I'm going to have to wait longer. I want to say within the past couple of days, we had, I don't know exactly when, within the past couple of days, we had our very first one burn up. The 7800X 3D had a huge issue where they were burning up. It was a whole debacle through motherboards, and I was still newer to tech at that point, so it was a headache. It was a headache to even think about it all and try to understand it all. So we had our first one burn up. However, a lot of people's consensus just by looking at the pictures, it was by user error. Now, our boy, Steve, Gamers Nexus, Tech Jesus, he has purchased the CPU. He promptly reached out to the person and said, I want to buy this from you so we can third-party analysis test and see exactly where all the failures came into play. And so I'm sure it's already in Steve's hands. So we will see what comes of that. But in conclusion, I want one. Moving on, though. There we go. First topic of the very first tech news. Let's go. NVIDIA! NVIDIA. It is being very, very rumored. It's one of those, like, you get some rumors, but they're like, I don't know. But then you start to get, like, rumors as in they are trusted people that have leaked before. There's shipping manifests that certain numbers and things will end up, and they're like, And so people start to put together, wait, it's coming soon. CES, which is coming up in January. CES is in Vegas. It's a tech show, so a bunch of mainly PC companies, but a lot of other tech can come and showcase new things, prototypes, literally things that you'll never see the light of day sometimes. You'll see at these shows. I personally would like to go one of these times just to see, just to be involved. And well, we're here. We're making tech content. Maybe one day I'll have the money or I'll have the sponsorships to send me out to one of these things. That'd be fun. It is very, very, very rumored that at CES they will be unveiled. The 50 series. At least the top ends, or they'll drop all the specs for all the SKUs and trickle down the release dates. We'll see. But their stock price, I don't think it's from this. I don't think it's from the anticipation of the 50 series. Their stock price is just soaring. Like, crazy. I won't even pull up charts right now, but if anyone is interested in stocks and this, that, and the other, I actually made a TikTok on this a couple of days ago. Intel's net worth is $100 billion ish, because right now there's a lot fluctuating. Nvidia's is 3.6 trillion. And like a few days prior or a week prior, they were 3.5 trillion. So they gained the entirety of Intel's market cap, and they're still going. And Intel is still going downhill. They're legitimately still going downhill and making bad choices. It's bad. We're not even supposed to be talking about Intel. Point being, Nvidia's stock price is just going crazy right now. If you bought stock even a year ago, but especially several years ago, you'd be doing okay. The closure news, I guess, because I didn't have too much. Nvidia's kind of been a little silent, slash they'll do things here or there. The closing discussion here, already, it feels like they just started announcing these. Like, I feel like I just got my 40 series card. They're already basically going to be stopping production for all of them except for the 4050 and 4060. I don't even think the TI variant. So, sad days, because like that means just if any stock dries up, you're going to be looking at a 50 series card. It's just that's how they get you every single time. Every time.
The more you buy, the more you save. That's the only thing you have to understand.
Anyway, we're going to move on. Just to kind of clarify real quick, topics will be from PCs to cell phone stuff to some video game news. It'll cover basically anything that I find interesting. What I find interesting here lately is Unreal Engine. I've been hearing specifically 5.4. I don't know Silent Hill 2 remake engine. That's what I meant. Yeah, I'm not seeing if they built it with any other version of 5, but 5.4 is, I think, the newest. That's right. So 5.3 is the newest. But I've been hearing 5.4, basically they're implementing real life photos, putting it into the engine, rendering it, and it's becoming like games are becoming extremely real life. It's crazy. Some of the newer and a lot more graphically intense games are running on Unreal, and they look really, really good. I made a TikTok on this very subject. Unreal Engine is really hard on GPUs. Even she has a 4070 Super, Buff Mom, and just to put that into perspective, it can handle the gaming, especially because she's in 1080 still. It can handle it. It can handle any game really well, and the CPU is doing okay even. It's just Unreal can be really, really choppy and hard to run at times. It runs in tandem with other things, so like she runs an Elgato cam. If you use the AI green screen, that actually really, really with the AI green screen it was like a lot worse. And there's other things at play. But we've just seen that Unreal, it's a little hard to run, and some of the comments I got were people saying basically just the developers don't know how to fully implement it to run smoothly at times, because yeah, like even Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 was choppy, and it's not just her. I watched other YouTubers that had the exact same issue, so it's a really interesting thing. I'm excited for the future of gaming to see how realistic it gets. But also, the hardware to utilize that is expensive, and not everyone has that, so it's equally disappointing. That is all I have to say on that topic, and we are going to move on. Intel. We've already dipped into Intel once or twice. The 13th and 14th gen situation has been quite a debacle for a while. They are finally getting sued. They are getting full-on sued for it. I'm not getting into all the bits and pieces and numbers because it's deep and it's interesting. And honestly, we'll just see what comes of it. But yeah, specifically for the 13th and 14th gen, a lot of data centers relied on the highest end Intel chips for all the cores and power that they offered. And with how unstable they were all becoming, they're like, we cannot rely on you for our data centers, and it's costing us a lot of money to swap all of our stuff out to your competitor. We don't want you anymore, and we're suing you because this was a lot of a hassle. It's actually a really big hassle to swap out data center parts due to instability chips. It's bad. It's bad. So we'll see what happens with that. Good luck to them. I'd say they have the money to fight, but literally Intel's losing money all the time, really. On top of that, Arrow Lake, the 200, Ultra 200, series chips, they are failing. As I briefly covered earlier, there is a retail shop in Germany that has not sold a single Arrow Lake chip. A lot of other ones are sharing that they're not selling hardly at all, either extremely low sales, and the benchmarks for gaming, if you're just trying to game on Intel, it's literally not worth it. It's a whole new platform. It's a whole new naming scheme, so you need to completely understand what chip you have in your hand. No new RAM, but you can get new RAM. That's the thing about that. That's a whole other. That could be a whole other topic at some point. But CU DIMMs, the totally different kind of RAM, could be implemented that is actually uplifting the performance of some of the 200 chips, but for gaming, none of it's enough. It's not keeping up with the X3D chips, and I don't think they ever will. I actually do not think Intel will ever catch up to the X3D chips unless they have something hidden in the sleeve that they are not hinting at all. They are some of the benchmarks for production were actually doing better than the 14900K. All right. Some production benchmarks were actually doing well, but people are saying, don't do it. It's not worth it. And what that means is Intel spent a lot of money to fabricate these chips, which they were supposed to fabricate at their own facility, and they're still not ready with their own fabs. TSMC still manufactured their chips, and they're just not selling because they aren't great at all. It's not good, man. It's not good. Moving on. Apple. I actually have a couple things I wanted to talk with them because wow, they've impressed me. The new Mac Mini, the M4, it is absolutely wild. There isn't a single tech reviewer that isn't raving about it. Most people, it's like, it's Apple. Yeah, it's good. Whatever. So many different things here. Apple did the Apple thing, and they made something that broke a lot of grounds and made people absolutely stop and go, okay, wait, you know what? This is worth it. But they put the power button on the bottom. A lot of people aren't freaking out about that because they're like, no, I never turn my Mac off. Like, it's actually so stable that I never need to turn it off, so it's fine. But what I have to say is it would absolutely destroy my computer in editing. This tiny little box. 5x5x2 tiny little PC, and it would absolutely destroy mine in editing, and it's sad. I want one. I would like to actually test some Apple products myself on real tasks like that to really see how they do. Because back when I had a Mac, and it was the M1, so their very first silicon, I didn't use it for any sort of productivity. I literally used it to watch Twitch and YouTube, play solitaire. So I would like to actually, I'd get a better feel for it. I would really like that. The price of it is competitive, extremely competitive for what it is. It's actually mad. I watched a video where this guy said, if you spec out this PC for what it is, you should be paying, I think it was like $3,000 or $4,000. He's like, let me explain. And he explained basically how like MacBooks, they cost more for this reason, that blah 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 blah. He went into the details, but he was like, realistically, with how they are pricing their MacBooks, if you go up in this and that, and like there's a certain little science that he did to it. He was like, this is literally like they're messing up. They made such a good deal on this. $600 for the base one, and man, tempting. I'm actually very interested in it. It's very impressive for what it is. Very, very quick, small thing, because I actually haven't seen it myself. I don't know if there's a picture even rumored about it, but Apple Home Display. I've never considered a smart home display or a smart calendar or basically like a smart thermostat, but also it can double as like a smart device for a lot of different things. Apple might be launching their own version of that next year, I want to say. I did not make a note on that. It could launch next year. They've kind of been doing some things in secret, and so that might be one of the random things that they dropped because the HomePod didn't do very well, I think it was called. And so this would basically replace it, but it would also be a screen on your wall that would interact with all your Apple devices. If you have any smart appliances, if you have smart lights, there's a lot of different things of home automation that you probably never considered because it's something I've never considered. And the moment I started to look into it, I'm like, that could be cool. So that's all I have to say on that because honestly, it doesn't sound like crazy interesting. It's just kind of a little interesting. All right, let's get into Xbox news, shall we? We got Xbox news. In fact, I heard some really fresh Xbox news on TikTok today that I didn't even make notes on because I don't have it as like official. It seemed quite rumored. I was just like, man, I don't know. I'll get that out of the way first. Very, very rough rumors that I heard is an Xbox Series X2. That's where you have me. I'm like, buddy, don't actually tell me that's where we're going with the naming. You guys have already gone so ass backwards with the naming, in my opinion. Let's come on. Basically, they would be implementing RDNA 3, so real graphics, not just APU worthy graphics. It would be. I didn't write down the specs because, like I said, I'm like, this is the first time I'm hearing of any of this, and I haven't read any of it. I haven't heard any tech news from any of the guys that I watch. So let it cook. But that is a little taste there. The bigger news in the Xbox world that is more confirmed because Phil Spencer himself has been in an interview talking about it. We are going to be getting an Xbox handheld. It's been rumored on and off for years. I want to say it was leaked in their roadmap a while back, and then Phil Spencer's like, no, don't believe any of that. That's just online stuff. The handheld was in there. We kind of knew a handheld would be coming. So basically, it would be a handheld like all the other ones, but it would run off of the Xbox app. And I don't think, actually, I do remember they said it wouldn't be cloud based like the PS Portal. That is cloud based. You cloud game from your system. This would be on device, but running through the Xbox app. But Phil Spencer said it would take a few more years as they're trying to perfect the Xbox app to make it run a lot more harmoniously like the other handhelds are doing with SteamOS. I would definitely like to see it in action. I just don't know if I will be picking one up. I don't have anything else to say on that, so we're going to move on. Very niche. I actually went to cross it out and I'm like, I don't know. Let me throw it in. This could not be necessarily interesting, but just someone out there could be like, oh yeah, that did affect me. T-Mobile, if your phone provider is through T-Mobile, I read that it was just a random bit of tech news that I got that I'm like, okay, let me just see. Basically, if you have T-Mobile, specifically in Utah, and you happen to lose service around 2 p.m. November 12th, that'd be Tuesday, you're not alone. That's really all there is to it. But yeah, there was specifically really random mass-ish outage, and specifically Utah for T-Mobile. And people were taking to X about it. They were complaining on X about it as any normal human being would. But yeah, that is it. I want to cover phone stuff and even issues that come up like that. A few months back, there was actually a really mass. Basically, a few months ago, there was a mass AT&T outage, and like this was a mass one. A lot of people were talking about it because even the emergency services for iPhones weren't working. You couldn't call 911. We couldn't even have satellite calling. Like there was like a mass issue. So I saw T-Mobile outage, blah blah blah. I looked into it, and it wasn't crazy, but it was something that I wanted to cover. It might be something that will be regularly covered here. Nothing more on that. I would like to move on to the last topic because it's an interesting one. It might persuade me. There's just so many numbers. I'm a numbers guy. When there's stats and numbers, I'm like, ooh. And so I'm actually gonna pull up my notes here and make sure that I get a lot of the numbers right. But we're gonna talk about Blue Sky. I don't know if any of you have heard about it or downloaded it and checked it out yet, but Blue Sky is the new competitor to X. I personally never had. I had a Twitter way back, and I'm like, what the fuck is the point in this? People are just posting statuses. I'll go back to Facebook. I had no issue just going back to Facebook or whatever else and making a status. I didn't understand that Twitter was going to blow up. And then yeah, it became X. It is the new competitor to X, Blue Sky. And a lot of people are raving about it. Like I'm getting TikTok videos on it and I'm like, okay, like I guess I'll hear you out. I think I have nothing but stats. So basically I have nothing but just stats for how the app is doing that I find super impressive. And I want to talk about it. From there, I might actually check this out myself, get my name on there because I'm trying to create content, so maybe I should be securing my name on sites that I may potentially use to promote. And yeah, we might see about this. So let me just give you a bunch of stats. We can talk about it. It is the number 2 iPhone app, and that is up from 27. This was as of Monday. So just this Monday, it rose from the number 27 app to 2 for iPhone only. That's wild. It basically went from 9 to 14 million users, and 700,000 of them were just like within the past week. And this was several days ago that I read this article. Maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. You're downloading it right now. Let's go. Either Tuesday or Wednesday, I read this article, and it was already saying like within the past week, and I think they meant like 5-day week. Another 700,000 people have. But basically, that is equating to a 933% growth just in that time. A 933% growth. From November 1st to the 10th, it had a 624% growth total. Basically over 1 million people. A million plus, I think is what I wrote here. And again, this was several days ago. I'm just like, that's a lot of people. Like, I heard when Threads started, okay? People were going to Threads to check it out. Not like this. Not like Blue Sky. Let me look up right now so we can actually get that. Holy shit. 16.4 million. Oh, here we go. Hang on. So literally right here. Top Blue Sky stats. I didn't even read all these yet. I want to catch up with you guys really quickly. In the week following the U.S. presidential election, over 1 million users flocked to Blue Sky. During the first day after ending the invite-only period, Blue Sky gained over 800,000. That's almost a 30% increase. About 4 months after launching, Blue Sky app reached 1 million installs. 40% of installs were from the U.S. alone. Blue Sky has raised a total of 21 million in funding, most recently raising 8 million from a seed round. Very interesting. Users have created over 547 million posts on Blue Sky. Wow. In September, the Blue Sky app had 445,000 total downloads, with 251,000 coming from iOS and 194,000 from Android. That's almost an even enough split. That's fine. The largest age group of visitors to Blue Sky's website is 18 to 24-year-olds. I believe that. I believe that. Back to here. But I'm fascinated to see just kind of where Blue Sky goes from here, because that's incredible growth. You also have to maintain sites and keep up. So like, gotta handle the influx as well. It's very interesting. But my closing thought on that: should I check it out? Should I download it and check it out myself and make an account? A lot of people that just don't have any faith in X/Twitter. Should I download it, make an account, and see what all the hubbub is? And with that, I'm actually happy to say this concludes the very first tech news. I curated a list of topics. I made notes on each topic. I didn't want to like script everything. I just made notes to touch on and remind myself of the things that I learned about this week. I hope something interested you. I hope maybe somebody out there learned something from some of it. And I hope, again, that we can expand on this and make this better and make it grow with the channel. And hopefully this doesn't take me too long to edit down, because there was a lot of dead air and me backing up and trying to say things maybe just a little bit clearer or better. My throat's been dry, so I've been chugging water here. But yeah, thank you all very much. I'm going to end the tech news right here, and I will see you all next time.
The more you buy, the more you save.